Councilperson Volunteer?
Here.
Gross? Patterson? Reeves? Tatasciore?
Here.
Johnson?
Here.
President Stewart?
Here.
Mayor?
Here. We do have a quorum. I did get a message from Councilwoman Gross. She's got an illness in the family. And Councilwoman Reeves and Councilman Patterson have gone over to the school board meeting this evening.
School?
There's a room in the high school. Yeah, there's a board room in the high school.
Yeah, you go in the front doors, make a left all the way down the hallway to the left.
Under announcements, there was a concern that came up at the last council meeting. There was a lot of questions that were being asked regarding the formation of the Delco Youth Club. There was a letter that was sent to the Ridley School Board that was dated the 23rd of September 2014. I'll read the letter very quickly. Dear members of the Ridley School Board, this letter is in reference to an application filed by the Delco Youth Club Gators to use the gymnasium at the Eddystone Elementary School to provide a basketball program for children ages 5 to 17. As you're aware, the Eddystone Recreation Board is supported by our Borough Council and has provided recreational programs for our children of Eddystone for decades. Our Recreation Board consists of 9 borough residents appointed by Council. Recreation Board is responsible to organize our sporting programs as well as other community functions throughout the year. Recreation Board is presently planning our basketball program for the 2014-2015 season. It has come to our attention that a group consisting of former members of the Eddystone Recreation Board formed a spin-off organization called the Delco Youth Club Gators. These former members, up until September of 2014, held a position of leadership with the Eddystone Recreation Board and resigned suddenly and without providing reason. The organization is presently advertising a basketball program for ages 5 to 17 that mirrors the Eddystone Recreation Program, and the group has requested the use of the gymnasium at the Eddystone Elementary School. Startup organization and the request to operate in the Borough of Eddystone has generated the following questions and concerns. Bullet point 1 is financial stability. The program provided by the Eddystone Recreation Board are financed by the Eddystone Borough. We offer programs at little to no cost to our children. The DYC organization is privately funded and is currently requiring a pay-to-play registration. The borough has requested to meet with the DYC on several occasions, but the DYC has not responded. Therefore, it is unknown at this time whether the club is legally organized, properly insured, or financially stable to provide a successful program for our children. Sign-ups and fundraising on school property. The group has been using the Eddystone Elementary School as a base of operations to sign up children to play for their program. A campaign for participation recently coincided with a back-to-school dance. Additionally, a bake sale was held in the school lobby to raise funds for the DYC organization. We believe that the distribution of flyers and fundraising activities on school property is sending a false message to the parents that the DYC program is sponsored and or supported by the Ridley School District. Confusion about participation. The children of Eddystone are getting confused about whether they can play for the DYC or Eddystone Recreation or both. The Eddystone Recreation basketball program is open to all children of Eddystone as well as anyone attending the Ridley School District that does not participate in a program elsewhere. The DYC is soliciting players from all areas of Delaware County, Pennsylvania. League play. We understand that the DYC is seeking to participate in the same competitive leagues as Eddystone Recreation. The crossover of players from not only Eddystone but also other local athletic organizations is a cause of concern for the respective league commissioners. Fundraising. The programs provided by Eddystone Recreation are budgeted expenses by the Borough of Eddystone. The programs are offered at little to no cost to our residents. The cost to participate in tournaments is offset by fundraisers and donations from our local business community. The existence of the DYC and their fundraising campaign is depleting donation dollars available in our community. Also, the DYC is requiring a pay-to-play registration, which could potentially create a financial burden for parents, especially if the organization plans to participate in tournament play. Limited use of the facility. The Eddystone Recreation Program uses Lighthouse Hall for our basketball program. We have exclusive use of the facility and can accommodate playing time 7 nights a week. Lighthouse Hall is equipped with a full-service snack bar, which helps to financially offset the expenses of the program. The DYC is requesting limited use of the gymnasium at the Eddystone Elementary School, which will result in an abbreviated program. Since members of the DYC are also employed at the Eddystone Elementary School, we believe that liberties may be taken to use other areas of the school, such as the cafeteria facility, a use that is outside the scope of their permit application. Safety. For the safety of our children, Lighthouse Hall is outfitted with a rubber floor and padded walls. The sidelines are set back to allow for bleacher seating for fans and parents. The gymnasium at Eddystone Elementary School has no sidelines for visiting spectators, and the non-padded stage area at the south end of the gymnasium poses a potential safety hazard for older children participating in competitive games. Security. All events at Lighthouse Hall are self-policed by parent volunteers. Denied access areas are secured by locked doors. The borough works directly with our police department to assign an extra officer to events that would create large crowds. Bathroom facilities are checked hourly to assure that the facilities are in clean and sanitary condition at all times. Eddystone Elementary School is not configured to prevent visitors from roaming the halls and accessing areas beyond the gymnasium. Also, since the DYC has failed to communicate their intentions to the borough, we will be unaware of any special events that may require emergency services to be placed on standby. Due to the reasons listed above, the Eddystone Recreation Board and Eddystone Council believe that the DYC organization is not currently in a position to provide a beneficial program to the children of our community, and the existence of this organization is negatively impacting the mission of the Eddystone Recreation Board. We appreciate your consideration of our concerns, and we respectfully request that the application filed by the DYC to use the gymnasium at the Eddystone Elementary School be denied by the school board. Should you have any questions or require additional information about this correspondence, please contact me directly at wstewart@eddystoneborough.org or at 484-832-0417. Very truly yours, William G. Stewart, Jr., Council President, Borough of Eddystone. As mentioned earlier, Councilwoman Reeves and Councilman Patterson are attending the school board meeting this evening.
They have the letter.
They have the letter. In addition, if the school board was to provide Councilwoman Reeves an opportunity, she will be addressing the school board as follows. A letter from the Eddystone Borough Council was sent to the Ridley School Board on 9/23/2014, which outlines our concerns about the formation of the Delco Youth Club. Eddystone Borough, through our Recreation Board, organizes sporting programs as well as community events throughout the year. We take great pride in the programs that we offer the youth of our borough. It is the opinion of my fellow council members that the operation of the Delco Youth Club within the boundaries of Eddystone will only fracture a solid basketball program that has been offered by our Recreation Board for decades. The pool of participation is too small to support 2 basketball programs in our community. We appear before the board this evening to request that the permit filed by the Delco Youth Club to use the gymnasium at Eddystone Elementary School be denied. We also take this opportunity to publicly invite the organizers of the Delco Youth Club to participate as coaches and/or volunteers with the Eddystone Recreation Program. Borough Council is committed to address any concerns that the Delco Youth Club has with the operation of the Eddystone Recreation Program. We thank you for allowing us to address the board this evening. The school board should be taking action this evening on whether they would grant a permit for the Delco Youth Club to use Eddystone Elementary, or whether they would allow them to use another gymnasium within the Ridley School District.
Is Steve Kazari on board with us? Has he gotten the letter?
I spoke with Steve the end of last week. He is aware that the letter has been written. I did speak with Chad Myers, who is the secretary for the school board. He has assured me that the letter would be shared with all of the school board members during their executive session, and that we would be given the consideration to make sure that our concerns that were outlined in that letter are addressed. Committee reports. Considering that we are into October already, I thought it would be a good idea if we were able to just go very quickly through all of the committees, take a look at the goals that were established in January of this year, and make sure that we are on track with meeting as many of the goals as possible. So I will start with administration and policy, and Despo Tadashore, you are the chair. And the goals that you had were, number one, to set up email addresses for our council members, to update our website, and to also update the employee handbook. So I will turn the floor to you.
Okay, I had a conversation with Tina and with Tim today, and we're gonna be working on those things to make sure that they get done in an expeditious manner.
Well, the emails for all the council members have already been set up, and now that we've launched the website, you know, that is the sole way of our residents to contact us at this time. So any resident that is looking at the website and wants to send an email to a council member or to the mayor or to a member of our police department would be using the email link that's on the website. So I just want to make sure that all of the council members have got their emails set up.
I'm embarrassed to say, but I do have to, I haven't had a chance to do that.
And the website, I did speak with Jennifer Hoff this afternoon. The traffic on the website just seems to be picking up more and more every day as the word gets out that we've launched the website. Unfortunately, we do not have the Google identification set up quite yet. We're working directly with Bob Glen, who has set up the EddystoneBorough.com site, and we're going to get that .com traffic directed over to the .org website. And Bob's going to work with Jennifer within the next couple of days to make that switch. Also, we'll be preparing a letter to start capturing some of the other email addresses that, you know, the domain names that have been acquired for, you know, EddystonePA.us. I think Mr. Wilson's got a couple of the domain names, so I'll be sending you a letter requesting a buyback from the Civic Association on some of those addresses. So, and I know Danielle had previously set up a handbook for the employees.
Actually, the handbook was sent from Sandy originally.
Okay.
And then she just told us, I think she got it from one of the insurance companies, and we just added our policies in there and updated a little bit.
Yeah, the existing handbook goes back to some years, but Danielle, it's been a while, so she updated that, so at some point, there might be a buzz tick on that. Yeah, and that's a whole policy.
Okay, thank you.
I think the revised handbook that Danielle's talking about, that they did the work on that, but it was never approved and adopted by the borough.
Right, you're right.
Yeah. So we're working on whatever existed before that.
Finance and audit in Karen's absence, I'll just give a very quick overview. Her goals were to review all insurance policies, recommend the sale of surplus assets, and to adjust salaries for the part-time employees. I know Councilwoman Gross has been looking to get the salary adjustment for the part-time employees, especially our EMTs. Realistically, I think it's going to be a January 1 rollout for the increases. Recommended sale of the surplus assets. I know we've got, I gave her a list of all of the things down at the highway department that could be advertised on municipalbid.com or a site very comparable to that. and I'm not sure where she's at with the insurance policies. I know that I did have her checking into down at Lighthouse Hall, or not Lighthouse Hall, Joe Hughes Memorial Hall, since there is events that are starting to happen there, and there's alcohol that's, you know, being brought in by the people that are renting the venue, that just make sure that, you know, we're covered for any type of the alcohol. Yes, sir. Mayor? Okay. Police and emergency management, we had 3 goals. First was the professional services agreement for fleet maintenance, which we took care of, I believe it was in February. Second goal was for the police department to sponsor some drug awareness classes, and I know, I said it again, didn't I? Chief Macheski is working on some drug awareness classes that would be held here in the borough. And to install an emergency notification system, we're under contract with Code Red from the emergency notification network. And did you receive, Mr. Wilson, an all-call?
Yes, I
Did you
did.
receive an all-call? The all-calls went out at the beginning of the week, and we're now in the process of starting to go out through the community and capturing phone numbers. Mr. Callen, did you get an all-call?
What?
Did you get an all-call from the Code Red folks? Just an announcement or a recorded call from Chief Macheski?
No.
No? We'll have to see if your number was captured in the database.
Mine wasn't either.
Yours wasn't either?
They went out from the city, so.
I don't know if I got one either, unless one of the kids got it.
Oh, thank you.
I got a whole pile here. I'm gonna have to just turn it here.
I didn't hear one.
Yes, sir.
Just for the benefit of anybody who's watching the recording, the Code Red is the new program that's been set up by the borough. It's an emergency notification system, right? That it's a voluntary thing that people can participate in if they choose to.
Correct.
Where they can give their contact information, and then if there's any sort of emergency or some reason that the borough government needs to contact the residents of the borough, they will be automatically contacted by this system, either by, email, phone, or text,
You
I believe.
have the option of doing a phone call, recorded phone call, or text, or email, or all 3. So if you wanted to sign up for the system and you wanted to be notified by all 3 methods, you will get a phone call to your cell phone, to your home phone, followed up by an email, followed by a text message to whatever number you've authorized the text message to be sent to. Zoning and code enforcement, Dave Patterson is the chair. I know that he's been addressing the vacant houses and the abandoned houses through our services with ADU. Renew and amend outdated ordinances. I think he's got a couple recommendations that we're going to have to go through Mr. Duffy with. And to streamline the code inspection process, we've been working with Dallas to get a carbon papered form to where if it's something simple like a grass violation, he's able to just handwrite that on the spot and give you the violation. So we're making steps to streamline the code enforcement process. Buildings and beautification with Karen Reeves. Develop a rental policy for Joe Hughes Memorial Hall. We've got a couple rental policies that have been circulated through the board. I think the alcohol issues, what we really need to dial in and address a little bit better. This is how we're going to handle. Right now, the alcohol policy, if somebody was to rent the hall, it's basically bring your own alcohol. Identify repair needs at Lighthouse Hall and begin planning for a new highway yard. Highway and sanitation, pursue recycling grant opportunities. The middle part of August, we submitted for the 902 grant, which is the implementation grant. And Tim, you postmarked last Friday the 904 grant, which is the performance grant, correct?
Correct.
Performance grant is essentially reporting to the DEP the amount of residential as well as the amount of commercial recycling that has been going on throughout the town. And so we're waiting to hear back from the DEP fee on both of those grant submittals. Combo recycling trash cans in town, as well as to begin the replacement of some faded street signs. I know Janer has just replaced about 25 stop signs throughout town that, you know, have been faded.
They got sent to circular, so there's a reflectivity requirement.
Okay.
Their goal was to improve image for nighttime driving.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a kind of an FYI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fire and Fire Marshal with Beth Gross developed an emergency plan with the Eddystone Rail Company. That has been done. The Eddystone Rail Company has got a plan in place for things that happen on the facility. And Andy Walsh, who is our Chief of Fire, and Bob Gleam have worked with that plan to make sure the emergency responders know how to handle a situation down at the Eddystone Rail Company. Partner with the Recreation Department for parade planning. The idea on that is to make sure that come next Memorial Day that we've reached out to our surrounding community, and we've got a lot of apparatus from the surrounding community that's participating in our Memorial Day parade. From what I understand, it's the sooner you can notify them, the better chance we have. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes.
So essentially, she should be planning the parade now for next year. And develop a fire safety plan for residents. I'll have to check with Councilwoman Gross to find out where she's at with a residential fire safety plan. Parks and Recreation, I know Councilman Patterson's working to update the bylaws.
I did provide bylaws to Councilman Patterson sometime last year. I
Okay.
copied you in on them.
Yep. Develop a couple new community-wide events, and then expand the programs for the seniors. And I'll let Dave report on that next meeting when he's here for the regular meeting. Danielle, we met with Delcora last Friday.
Yes.
So if you can give us an update on where we're at with Delcora.
I thought it was a very informative meeting, being new to this committee. But essentially, they provided a good amount of information in regards to the usage-based sewer fee. I think they were gonna provide you with additional information.
And they have.
Oh,
I got it
okay.
late Friday and late Friday also. I'll forward everything to you.
Okay. After hearing what they had to say, I mean, my opinion was, I don't know if that would be the route for us. We would probably need a little bit more information, you know, as far as usage-based, because you get into a huge fee. There's a lot of other things involved. But I think the Delcora committee should sit down and go over, you know, what the best option would be for the residents.
Mm-hmm.
The map and condition inspection of the mains, I believe Chuck Catania was working on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure.
And the recent grant did sanitary
Yeah.
sewer.
Yeah, there was two things that, if I recall correctly, they reported. Number one is they did a video inspection a few years ago of all the mains here within the borough. All of that video information has been forwarded to Catania, and Catania is able at that point in time to kind of give us map us a condition of where our system is. So.
Go ahead.
Back to you.
The CDBG funding, I haven't really been involved in that, but we did apply for that, right, Tim?
We did. This year, the grant that was approved was for sidewalk in front of the Borough building. But the previous year was for sewer main work that was completed this summer mostly on Seville. So what they do is reline the existing mains and where they destroyed them previously. And it improves on ionite, which is, I guess, Bill knows. Ionite is basically where your sewer's accepting outside water, infiltration and something else. But long story short, a segment of it was completed through grants, but we're expecting Catania's firm to tell us that we need more work done through that. And he identified where, and then the grants could be applied for that. In that manner, if council approves them, we can CDBG.
Community Development Block Grant, that's what I call it.
Yeah, when we do that vote.
Okay.
That's in December, right?
Yeah, but I would expect it's gonna be more, I think that I would expect it's gonna identify more of the
Yeah,
issue.
we spent, what was it, 65,000 if I recall correctly, in the
Yeah,
sewer lining
on this
project?
line work, which covered a lot, but not a lot compared to the whole infrastructure. Yeah.
And the feedback that we got from Delcora was that, you know, the lining project is definitely the way to go to preserve your system.
That's what we did.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
And there was some educational material that they had wanted us to distribute through the community. A lot of it was just to making sure that the residents do not have a hookup to where their sump pump or their roof drains go into the sewer system, because you know, that is, rain goes down the drain.
Right.
And you know, we're paying to process this wastewater, which should be going through our storm system, not through our sanitary system. So be on the lookout. They were kind enough to give us over 1,000 pamphlets to hand out. We did make the commitment that we would distribute those door to door.
I just wondered, the community development block grants, they get administered by the county. Is that money that comes from the state, or do you know where is
I
that
believe it's federal funding.
federal funding?
Yeah, because it comes through HUD,
Mhm.
the Federal Housing and Urban Development Department. But Delaware County has an office that oversees it, and the county administers it.
Good.
Any other comments about the committee reports or committee updates? What I just asked council is that stay focused on the goals that were set forth in January and continue to work to make sure that we're satisfying all of the commitments we made at the beginning of the year. Public forum, Mr. Wilson.
I just had a couple of things. One is that I know that Dave Patterson and Bill Stewart and Dallas worked closely with a family who was working to get a CO, a certificate of occupancy, and put a lot of time and effort into using that as, my feeling is it was kind of a test, a way of looking at the whole process, and that it was a big help to this family, and it showed that people care about improving, you know, the process at the borough, and I appreciated that very much, because the family originally contacted me asking how they could get some help. The other thing is, I noticed that there was some policing going on at CD's Tavern a week or so ago, and I don't know if the individual that they were handcuffing was jaywalking or what, but it was nice to see some activity there, because, you know, for a long time it seemed like there was a hands-off policy on that place. But, you know, we were encouraged by that.
The incident that I think you're referring to, I believe the report was there was a vehicle pursuit coming out of Ridley Township.
Mm-hmm.
The officers from Ridley Township followed the fleeing vehicle into the borough of Eddystone. The vehicle crashed. Was it technically in Eddystone, or was it across the street, which is technically Ridley?
The vehicle crashed in Eddystone, Chester Plain Simpson, the driver took off, ran, and they got him down the area CD's.
By CDs?
It was a stolen vehicle from Ridley Park.
Uh-huh. Well, it was
But
good.
You did see activity, folks from Chester, Ridley Park.
I only saw
Eddystone,
officers from Eddystone when I was there, but anyway, it was evident that there was some, you know, good on the ground work being done, and it's very encouraging. The other thing was, I was wondering if it would be possible to at least consider, and maybe put it on next time you have an executive session, maybe put it on the agenda, to consider whether or not there's some way that the workshop could be moved to a different night, so it would be possible for, right now you can either attend the school board meeting or the workshop meeting. I know that this is a long tradition of being on the first Monday, but you know, for example, tonight 2 of our council members, you know, are not present here because they're doing something for the. So I'm just asking that perhaps that could be considered.
We will take it under advisement.
Thank you.
We do have to set the schedule January of 2015, so we'll take it under advisement.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other public comment before we move on with the agenda? Action items that will be taken next meeting. Next meeting, council will be taking action on approving the treasurer's report, also the cash receipts and disbursements journal. We'll be taking action on the code enforcement report, the police report, the fire report. We'll also be reviewing during the week the electronic communication policy. I did send an email out to everybody so that you've got a copy of that policy to review. And if we were to move forward with the electronic communication policy, we'd also be looking at moving forward with the cell phone stipend policy as well. Any other action items that council has at the moment? Upcoming public meetings. Next Monday will be our regular council meeting at 7 o'clock here in Borough Council Chambers. Website launched, www.eddystoneborough.org. We're in the process of improving the Google search so that you don't have to type it in directly to your URL. But we have gotten positive comments about the website, and we're actually getting ready to do update number 1, which is to just kind of tweak some things around. A couple things is, you know, I found some old photos of Baldwin locomotive and of Sun Ship, and you know, it'd be nice to put those on the website as well as the Eddystone print works to kind of just show, you know, some of the pictures of Eddystone's history. So we're working on update number 1 as well. Code Red, the all call went out, so Borough residents received the all call from Chief Macheski to introduce the Code Red system, as Mr. Wilson pointed out, which is our emergency notification system. Actually, it's going to be an effort. I haven't shared this with the mayor yet, but we're going to do a little door knocking campaign with the mayor and the chief of police, and we're going to get some postcards that are made up to bring the borough residents, make them aware of the website as well as the registration for Code Red. And this way here, the other thing that Chief Macheski made a recommendation to, when we have a community event, that we set up a laptop station that's connected to the internet, so that as our residents attend the community event, if they have the opportunity, if they don't have computer access at home, to be able to register for Code Red right there while they're at the event. So we'll be setting up some laptop stations and capturing information like that. So, and the folks from Code Red, they'll actually report back to us on the amount of participation that we have in the community. So they'll be able to monitor the percentage of folks in the community that are actually getting the message.
When's the Cow Pie Bingo? What's the date on that? October 18th? So we can have a table set up there.
Round table, I'll start with the mayor this evening.
I'm good.
Good?
I'm good.
Councilman Donahue?
About the woman of the ceremony?
Sure, I can mention it. Councilwoman Thompson?
I don't have anything this week.
Councilwoman Tatasciore?
I have one issue that I'm gonna need the mayor's help with and the chief's help with. The trucks, the 18-wheelers are parking at Walmart again overnight. And they stopped doing it for a while, and slowly they're back, and they're staying overnight. I don't know if you noticed them.
I'm glad you said something.
I talked to Sandy Lines, and it's a big problem. It was a big problem, you know, a while ago, and we got on Walmart. We had their cooperation. They didn't want to, you know, have the trucks not parked there. They thought, you know, it's like a truck stop, but it's not a truck stop. You know, they're in a residential area. They let out fumes, they have a lot of noise. You know, they come and go at different hours, and now they're.
Technically, they're not supposed to be running for
But they are.
events.
But they are.
Anything over 5 tons, I believe this cannot run over 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, it is,
That's like a
there's park
Walmart.
right by the entrance when you come
Okay.
in. So you don't have any view when you're
Yeah,
coming
park
in
right in
and
front of you.
out.
That's-
And a lot of people, when they come in and out, you can't see. And there's a lot of kids that walk there.
That's true.
About moving out of there.
They don't hit, some of them are Walmart trucks, a lot of them aren't.
They can move into the rear of the ShopRite or the rear of the Walmart.
If Walmart wants their trucks parked there, let them put them back there, but they're bothering the neighbors, I'm getting complaints from, you know, my neighbors, they don't wanna hear it, they don't wanna smell it, I don't either.
No, I don't blame you. I will take care of that.
Okay, thank you. I'm a very happy neighbors,
Anything else?
that's it.
That's it? A few things. The Highway and Sanitation Committee met this evening with Katie Ferry, and Katie is with KRF Environmental, and Katie she was actually referred to Eddystone through our friends at Borough. She wanted to bring to our attention that the DEP has money available for technical assistance grants. The technical assistant grant basically apply to the DEP, telling them that you've got a recycling program that has started in your community and you would like to find ways to improve the recycling efforts. And the DEP would go under contract with an environmental firm. So if she is successful, she would be getting money from the DEP to give us assistance in not only getting our residents educated, but us as Eddystone being 75% industrial and 25% residential, really start focusing on the businesses in this community and have them start recycling, or if they already recycle, make sure that the numbers that they have collected are actually reported over to the Delaware County Solid Waste Authority, because those are the numbers that we would utilize for our 904 grant and actually get participation for the performance that the businesses have. So there's absolutely no match money. So this is something where she's going to give us a proposal. I will circulate it through council this week, and then if the proposal seems acceptable, we would take action at next meeting to give her permission to prepare a technical assistance grant to be submitted to the DEP for helping us improve our recycling efforts here in Eddystone.
Could that money be used to buy containers for
No.
households?
No.
Why not?
Can't get you can't, the technical assistance grant is just technical assistance. It's basically allowing a professional services organization to develop a plan for you to implement. The purchasing of containers, that's through our 902 grant. So we had submitted the 902 grant back in the middle part of August. Things that we asked for in that grant, we asked for reimbursement of the cost of the stickers, the reimbursement for our costs for producing copies to distribute to the community. We asked for a reimbursement of the magnets that we put on the side of the collection vehicles. We did ask for carts, recycling carts. We asked for tippers that would, hook on the back of the trash truck to bring the carts in, since they do get a little heavy. And we asked for a new truck. But I emphasize the word ask. There's no guarantee that we would be getting that money from the DEP. We also have to have a 10% match on any monies that we spend. So I believe that the grant that we submitted for was about $245,000. So we would have to, if we were fortunate enough to get a grant from the DEP in that amount, we would have to budget over the next 3 years the 10% match.
But it also sounded like Walmart now have to participate.
Walmart has to participate.
She has a way of somehow getting their numbers
Correct.
and us getting credit for that. So
Correct.
that's gonna help us in the future as far as putting in for grants and stuff.
That's correct.
So if, you know, we're in shockwave and all that.
Yep.
So I think she's gonna be a really, and she even said she has a thing where they do it at the elementary school
Mm-hmm.
and talk to the kids. They have little programs. So I think she's gonna be good.
Tim, can you give us a quick
Probably
update on the 904 grant, the performance grant, since you prepared and sent that, just to kind of walk through the process of the information that the DEP was looking for?
It's exactly what Bob's talking about. The borough submits on the grant application, the tonnages collected from the various haulers that work in the borough. So for example, Walmart's the biggest one. It's funny you say that, but Walmart has a hauler, they have an independent, there's a bunch of waste haulers. Those haulers
so
are
sorry.
obligated to report tonnages to the county. The county has a solid waste ton. And then those numbers get back to the borough, and there's a calculation for, what do they call it, residue, which would be you minus out from the gross amount, things that I guess don't count, or residue. And so that got reported by Eddystone Borough on 3 different charts. I'm trying to think, it was all the major businesses in town, and then I guess it was what went through the county, and then there was a cover sheet on that grant, which just had contact information, and then there's some signature pages. That was due the end of last month. That was postmarked by the end of last month and sent into DEP. And the expectation, it doesn't have a number, but the lady from the county is very experienced, told me we could be up around $6,000 for that grant, which is nice, because it'll help us find anything else, but that's a nice way to recoup.
Oh, yeah.
And the other great thing about recycling is, other than it's good for the environment, is the more that gets recycled, the less we send to the landfill, and that costs a lot of money to dump trash. So every ton that goes to this program, we actually get money back versus paying to get rid of the other stuff.
So council, be on the lookout for a professional services proposal from KRF Environmental. Once I receive that, she should have it to me by the, I would say Wednesday or Thursday of this week. I'll pass it on to everybody for review, and if everybody's comfortable with it, we would just take action next meeting, give her permission to prepare a grant and send it to the DEP on our behalf.
She sounded like she
Yeah. Council, at next meeting, will also have to take action. I'm in receipt of a letter dated the 25th of September 2014 to Borough Council. I, Dallas Waters, will be resigning my position with the Borough of Eddystone. My last day will be the 17th of October. I'll be moving to Florida to start the next phase of my life, and I want to thank everyone that I've had a chance to work with. It's been a great pleasure. So we will be taking action to accept Dallas's resignation as both the code enforcement officer as well as the health inspector. That's going to put us in a situation, if his last day is the 17th, we will have to be in a position on the 18th if the phone rings for somebody looking for a permit or looking for a inspection for certificate of occupancy. We would have to be in a position to be able to fulfill that request. Giving it some thought, it looks as if we've got maybe 3 options. Option 1 is going to be to, ask one of the inspectors, whether it be John Lyman or Evan Hosbeck, to kind of step up and sit in the role of Dallas Waters temporarily, or maybe even permanently.
Can they, though?
I believe John Lyman has his BOCA certificate.
He has the same certification that Dallas has. Plus he's also got one additional certification.
Option 2 is going to be to put it out for professional services. Just, ask an engineering firm to provide code enforcement services for us.
As needed.
It'll be as needed, absolutely. I know Catania has the capability of doing it. In the Tinicum Township, they have McCombie and Associates that do that on their behalf. And I believe the Vicentes also do it for Darby Borough, correct, Tim?
Yeah.
So, you know, I'll reach out to some folks and just kind of ask them to submit a proposal. And the last option would be to actually advertise and fill the position with a new person. So if there's other options or ways or avenues to accomplish filling Dallas's position, I'm open to suggestions, but we will definitely need to have to take some sort of action at next council meeting on how we're going to move forward.
Well, Tim, your firm does that?
Yeah. I guess, probably 3 guys. Joe's, but there's 3 guys who offer proper certification. I think Darby outsourced with the, as well, years ago.
And the last thing that I have is with the website being up and running, and we are starting to get the updates flowing. I know at previous meetings we had taken action to have Mr. Wilson kind of be the individual who does all of the updates and news blogs and uploads all of the videos that you take for us, and the meeting minutes, making sure that the website's up to date. So I will put a letter together this week, basically outlining, you know, what your duties and responsibilities would be and what the compensation for performing those duties and responsibilities are. I'll make sure the council has a copy of that well in advance, and we'll be taking action on next Monday to ratify that agreement.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Who is going to be taking care of like the calendar for Borough Rec? Like the use of the field and stuff like that?
Do you mean scheduling events or reporting
Scheduling
events?
Yes.
Scheduling the events I would put on the shoulders of the Recreation Board. And then it would be the responsibility of the Recreation Board to pass that information along to Mr. Wilson to say, hey, could you put it on the borough calendar? And I will use the example for the St. James Bulldogs
That's why I did it.
tournament. You know, there was a breakdown in communication where the Ladies Auxiliary was given permission to have their Cow Pie Bingo, and it was on the same exact day as the softball tournament. So, you know, the Ladies Auxiliary was nice enough to reschedule their event. However, you know, that left hand meet the right hand has to, so I am going to put it on the shoulders of the Recreation Board.
Okay.
That, you know, they'll kind of coordinate the events that happen at Lighthouse Hall. I'll even go as far as what's happening down at Joe Hughes Memorial Hall and what's going on in the ball fields.
Okay.
So that they keep their calendar, and that calendar is passed on to the website, so that, you know, we have it on the website that there is a softball tournament in town.
Okay.
I did have one more thing, Bill. Where are we in terms of the salary for Ed and the chief? Because we haven't really discussed that.
What's happening right now is that he is receiving the same compensation as what he was receiving as acting chief. Learning the lessons of, you know, some of the things that was occurring with the former chief, compensation time, overtime. I think it's in our best interest as Borough Council to kind of put those things in writing of, you know, what qualifies for compensation time or overtime, if anything qualifies. I'm personally right now leaning towards the, I pay you a salary to be a chief of police, and that, you know, you understand going into the job that it is an operation that goes on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and there will be times that you get the phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you address the phone call at 3 o'clock in the morning, and maybe that gives you a free pass to not come in until 10 o'clock the next day. You know, having some flexibility with the time there. I know that Chief Pacheski has reached out to the FOP for legal assistance. And we have reached out to Byrne,
Oh,
McNichol,
yeah,
and Matalowski,
yeah. That's our labor council.
our labor council, and they are starting to talk back and forth with formulating some type of a written proposal. I will call it a proposal. I don't want to call it a contract. I'll call it a proposal. At the rate things are going, I realistically think it would probably be something that we enter into an agreement January 1. We stay status quo with what we're doing right now, which is he is on the salary that he was on before. And then January 1, we formalize the agreement that, you know, stipulates what his salary is going to be and how we're going to handle compensation time, overtime, you know, what he can and cannot do with the vehicle that he takes home and
His schedule.
his schedule.
I was just curious, like I said, I mean, I thought we would have, when we would have voted it in, we would have had some inkling of where we were going with it, and that's why I'm asking.
We're working on it.
January, all the salaries get looked at.
Yep.
So when we do our salary resolution, it'll be part of that.
And then, of course, part of the budget.
Right.
Which is gonna come up soon.
Yeah, that's coming fast.
Can I,
And I'm glad you brought up the budget issue again, because Joe has already started the request to set aside some time to talk about the budget. What I'd like to do is just to make sure that council really gives some thought about, you know, what spending needs we have for next year. I know that Lighthouse Hall is in need of some repairs. The doors and windows and capping, you know, all needs to be addressed. I know there's some areas of the floor that are starting to buckle a little bit. And, you know, really give some thought about the spending needs for next year. And so this building here needs to be looked at as well.
I have one question.
Yes, sir.
Where are we at with all the damage and stuff there? Joe used all the fire hose.
I will defer to our counselor, Mr. Duffy, with, I know that there's been discussion about settling the dispute with Borough, and I don't know how much you're at liberty to disclose.
All I can tell you where we are in litigation right now. Expert reports have been exchanged amongst all the parties, and rebuttal expert reports are due, I believe, within the next week. There is a settlement conference scheduled for all the parties in front of the federal magistrate on November 5th. However, I believe that some of the parties have expressed that they may not be able to attend that, and they are looking to get that rescheduled. When that conference does occur, whether it be on November 5th or on a later date, we will need a representative from council with the authority to settle to attend that conference. But again, we suspect it will probably get postponed. There's some type of, there's going to be an informal conference, I believe, amongst all three attorneys at some point next week. But that's, again, that's informal. They're just having a meeting because if they can resolve, it would be nice if everybody could come up with a mutually beneficial resolution as opposed to spending more money. So that's where we are.
Last call for any roundtable discussions. With no further discussion, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So ordered.
Meeting adjourned.